Last year, the team decided to tackle a feature that has been consistently at the top of your request list. And while we weren't sure it was possible, today, I'm pleased to announce Xbox One backward compatibility.
Backwards compatibility. A great feature. Every major game company since dawn of gaming has dabbled in the idea of backwards compatibility. Backwards compatibility comes in many forms, different shapes, and different price tags. Hello my friends and followers, Floppy Pingus 97 here. I thought today we'd look at these different forms of backwards compatibility. The first major console to include backwards compatibility was the Atari 7800, released in 1986, and it was backwards compatible with the 2600 games. These being games on the Atari 2600, not 2600 games in total. If only most companies didn't try to follow in the footsteps that Atari laid, instead opting to either make their own versions, such as the power-based converter on the Sega Genesis, or completely forgetting about it like Nintendo, relying on third parties to pick up the slack. But basically, after this, backwards compatibility was completely forgotten about. Most companies had moved on to other things. It was until the year 2000, when the PS2 launched with full backwards compatibility with PS1 games, that only system of that generation to offer that feature, giving it an edge over its competition. Now, the next console to offer backwards compatibility would be the Xbox 360, with its emulation built into the OS that would allow it to play original Xbox games. And this feature was announced in E3 2005. Some game developers were making multiplayer games just skipped the Xbox 360 version, made them for the Xbox, and just said these will be backwards compatible anyways. A lot of the cases were, like Black and Call of Duty Big Red 1. The Wii was also backwards compatible with GameCube games. This used system on a chip, basically. The Wii was just a beefed up GameCube with motion controls. The PS3 also used system on a chip, but because the architecture was so different, that combined with the built-in Blu-ray player made the price skyrocket. Eventually, in the later models, they removed this feature. The Wii did the same thing, but since the 360 used emulation, it was able to keep its backwards compatibility. It still does. Now some people count the Wii Virtual Console, and to a lesser extent the 3DS and Wii U Virtual Console, as backwards compatibility, but I don't count it. I just count it as its own separate thing. Backwards compatibility requires that it comes to no cost to the person who already owns the old games. The Virtual Console, you had to pay for them again. On a side note, handhelds have been doing that for ages, and at this point the DS had backwards compatibility with Game Boy games. Only in its first runs though. Eventually it was removed because it was not a feature they wanted to keep. Continuing from there, the 3DS was backwards compatible with all DS games, and the Wii U was backwards compatible with all Wii games. Ironic, because it got Wii games on the Virtual Console. After that, the Xbox One in 2015 was announced that it would have an emulator for 360 games via the internet. Even if you own the disc, it would install the update. They had been working on this emulator for a couple of years at that point, but since they put more precedence on the Kinect, it was forgotten about until 2015. This leads us to the future of backwards compatibility. No one knows for sure what's going to happen. The Switch by no means runs any form of backwards compatibility, not even a virtual console. Instead, having its shitty online service to play NES games. The PS5 is rumored to have backwards compatibility with PS4 games, but not anything else. And Xbox Scarlet has been announced that it will be backwards compatible with all games playable on Xbox One right now. That includes its catalog of backwards compatible games. And I hope that we see more games in the future.